Here's what you missed in the first 4 episodes of Mandalorian Season 3. Beware spoilers ahead.
He's got this. Trust me.
Episode 2 has Dinn traveling to the homeland of his people and the birthplace of his creed. It should be an emotional journey filled with reverence and humbling honor at being the first Mandalorian to set foot on the planet in decades.
This is the way.
Too bad it all ends up ruined by a single robot a-hole. Mando is blindsided by a trapdoor spider attack from some unnamed beast who is more metal than fleshy eyeball. While this unknown assailant is a new creation for the show, it has inspirations and canonical roots in another character from the infamous prequel trilogy. Yes, it's the other robot a-hole, General Grievous.
General Kenobi.
Hello there.
Both technological terrors are a mix of the cybernetic and the alien. Both Grievous and the Mandalorian Frankenstein move in a spider-like fashion, able to twist and spin their arms and torsos in unnatural ways. Their organic yellow eyes also show the man under the metal. There is even a noticeable callback to the 4-armed lightsaber collector in the breathing of the malicious Mandalorian mechanical menace. So is this monster the same race as the good general? Probably not. There are noticeable differences in the eye structure and what little we see of other organic components. This beastie is also far sturdier than Grievous, able to live on as just a spider-like head, as if it was Norris from The Thing.
You gotta burn the rest of them.
When Dinn returns to a familiar planet in the series, it looks very different. Thanks to some great leadership from professional actor Carl Weathers, Navarro is looking like a much kinder and gentler place, even for a monkey lizard. The creatures chilling in the tree on the former mercenary world were first seen in Return of the Jedi, with one playing the laughing yes man to gangster Jabba the Hutt. However, these specific lizard monkeys were first seen in The Mandalorian as soon-to-be Barbecue. It looks like they were released and then they made their home in the new world created by Dinn and professional actor Carl Weathers. They aren't the only familiar faces we see on the planet. The bounty hunters that confront the pair include a Trandoshan and a Klatooinin. The Trandoshans are the lizard-like creatures previously seen across the original trilogy, most notably as one of the bounty hunters stalking Han Solo. They are also particularly hard enemies in the classic first-person clone shooter, Republic Commando. There is also the delightful Anzellans, who seem to be droid repairmen as a species trait. These little guys are the same species as the scene-stealing Babu Frick. One of them may even be Babu, because as far as we know, he may be older than Yoda. Seriously, what we know about these little guys barely fills a single Wikipedia page. So we all know that Bo-Katan is going to ride a Mythosaur and rally her people to retake their homeland, just like she's Jake Sully in Avatar, right? This season is introducing casual viewers to the legendary beast that gives the Mandalorians their sigil. It's a large piece of lore behind the warrior tribes, and it originates long ago, or in 1982. In an issue of the then ongoing Marvel Star Wars comic, Star Wars grandpas got their first look at a Mythosaur's remains. Though not specifically referenced by name, it was later confirmed to be the first appearance of the legendary Titan. The Mythosaur then bounced around as soft canon for years. That is until Dave Filoni came along in his never-ending quest to canonize every piece of extended lore. The dearly departed Quill even mentions the beast back in the first episode of the series. It looks like the monster reawakens something inside Bo-Katan, and she is in for a more spiritual arc this season. Don't worry though, this is Mandalorian spirituality, which means she will still set lots of people on fire. Grogu is on his way to becoming a Mandalorian, which means he gets a brand new lesson in having a PTSD-triggered flashback during a forging. During instruction from the clan's leader, we learn how Grogu survived the purge of the Jedi Temple. And oh boy, is it filled with imagery from the prequel trilogy. Not only do you have classic stormtroopers, V-Wing starfighters, even the Naboo Royal Guard and one of their shiny chrome starships, heck, there's even Jar Jar Binks. And he's much cooler now. The lone Jedi Knight who rescues Grogu is played by actor Ahmed. Best was the man behind one of Star Wars' most hated characters, the overly clumsy Gungan Jar Jar Binks. He performed the motion capture and on-set acting, and received more than his fair share of backlash for the character. While thankfully he is not reprising his role as Binks, he is returning to a previous character. Kelleran Beck was a background Jedi in the prequel trilogy, and a way for Best to get an acting credit that didn't include him wearing a dumb plastic head. By the way, this whole sequence is a callback of its own to the very first episode of The Mandalorian. Grogu's childhood trauma is triggered by the pounding of the forge and the sparks of the hammer. It's a direct parallel to Dinn Jarin's own trauma-filled flashback in the first episode. I guess the young green puppet and Pedro Pascal have more in common than even they know. Once again, a Star Wars series is drawn back to that sand-filled hellhole called Tatooine. And this season, it's just in time for the holidays. The planet of the Twin Suns is celebrating Boonta Eve once again. If you don't remember The Phantom Menace, please tell me your secret. Well, in that film, the possibly inebriated Qui-Gon Jinn found himself in Mos Espa during the same time of year. It was the Boonta Eve classic that featured the pod race that won Anakin his freedom.
Now you can make your dreams come true, Annie.
Well, it looks like Boonta Eve is celebrated all over the desert world, and still even features some racing. The establishing shot of Amy Sedaris' hangar shows two speeders engaged in a street race. This one is probably unsanctioned, judging by the people they almost run over. These two aren't the only ones up to vehicular shenanigans. Off to the left is what looks like a speeder bike doing donuts around a crowd. I don't know what Boonta Eve is meant to celebrate, but it seems to be motorsports and reckless endangerment. Where do I get my ticket? Speaking of the spaceport and its sneaky owner, Pili Motto is a big fan of droids, and seems to be one of the few people in the galaxy who treats them as equals and friends. That doesn't stop her from pawning R5 off on Dinn the moment she gets the opportunity. Who can blame her? She already has so many mechanical mouths to feed, including beloved video game companion BD-1 from the hit game Jedi Fallen Order. Okay, it's probably not him, but a similar model. But you can see the same type of droid hanging out behind Motto when she is hustling Rich Greedo. This is the first live-action appearance of this droid. But don't expect Cal Kestis to show up this season. He's too busy growing that beard so he can look all hot for the upcoming Jedi Survivor. Don't you hate it when you're just chilling and then all of a sudden a giant bat-like monster swoops out of the sky and grabs you like you're so much salmon? When the young Mandalorian in training is snatched up, Dinn and a few others pursue the beast in an attempted rescue. This sequence has many similarities to other events in the Star Wars canon, some seen and others only mentioned. Firstly, it echoes back to the famous Death Star trench run, with the jetpacked Mandalorians taking the place of some classic X-Wings. Actually, Luke Skywalker would have been right at home in this situation, because of his time bullseyeing womp rats in Beggar's Canyon.
Good.
Heck, you can even look outside the Star Wars universe to the next tile on Disney+, because this sequence also echoes the heart-pumping rescue that opens the Marvel series Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Fortunately for all of us, The Mandalorian is a much better show than that one was. The Mandalorian is 4 episodes into its latest season, and it's already off to a strong start. We are getting more focus on the world and less on possible spin-off characters. Bo-Katan is on her way to becoming the Daenerys Stormborn of the post-Empire Mandalorians, and Dinn is returning to the fold. Even Grogu is talking and leaping around like he's Yoda in Attack of the Clones.